What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video today. We're going to have some draft talk. Been a little while since we touched on the draft with all the free agency stuff going on, but coming back to it with the draft less than a month away at this point, it's time to dive into it. Some stuff that I've been hearing about. There are pro days happening right now. Obviously, the combine has already happened. And despite the fact that the Colts seemingly need to help their secondary out and get either corner or safety, preferably safety of some sort, the conversation is really based around the fact that the Colts are looking at wide receivers. Reggie Wayne has been to two different pro days, at least to my knowledge at this point, has been to two different pro days, one for Oregon, one for Texas. And of those two guys from Texas, one of them has a top 30 visit with the Colts, as the Colts are starting to schedule their top 30 visits with different guys. And Xavier Worthy is on this list. Now, there's more stuff that we're going to talk about with this list of guys for the top 30 visits. A lot of cornerbacks, a lot of guys on the defensive side, but a couple of wide receivers mixed in there. But the one that I want to talk about is, again, Xavier Worthy, wide receiver from Texas, who, of course, set the football world ablaze when he went and got a 4.21 at the combine, right? Everybody knows what happened. We've all seen the clip. But when you look at Xavier Worthy and you're looking at the whole thing, we're talking about a receiver that stands at 5'11", just over, a hair over 5'11", 185 pounds. If you look at him, he's a skinny dude, okay? There are plenty of skinny receivers that make it work. And he's, just growing into his more manly body, he can add on some muscle. But for what he is, like, his size and his speed go hand in hand. Do you really want to add a whole lot to that, right? You look at his 40-yard dash, 4.21, insane, a record. Okay, his RAS score was 9.37. Okay, guy with 41-inch vertical. So he has the explosiveness. And one thing that I like about Xavier Worthy, as I was looking through it, and looking through the one thing that I watched was when Texas played Alabama, and he had to go up against those Alabama corners. A couple of them going to be drafted, probably both of them in the first round of the 2024 draft. So having to go against them, how would he do? And I thought he did well. There were some throws that I thought Quinn Ewers could have made better in that game that would have definitely helped Xavier Worthy. But he also had a deep touchdown in that game. He was able to put up some stats, but was also could have done better, could have had multiple touchdowns. There's one that kind of glanced off his hands. Could it have been a little bit better of a ball? Sure. But he probably should have had it, right? And that's the only thing you really worry about, in my opinion, with Xavier Worthy is his hands. This is a guy that, with his acceleration and his ability to stop and go again, and not when he's shifting directions, it's straight back to his speed. It's not taking him time to get going. So that quick speed, that twitchy speed, that's kind of stuff that you see in Tyreek Hill might be an extreme example. But somebody that fast and somebody that's able to change direction and get up to top speed very quickly, Tyreek Hill is great at that. And I think that, another video that I watched compared Xavier Worthy to Deshaun Jackson. And Deshaun Jackson was the same way, in the way that he could switch directions and get to top speed very quickly. So I thought that was a good comparison. And it'll be interesting to see, hopefully Xavier Worthy is able to have a better career in terms of, as a wide receiver. Deshaun Jackson has some really good seasons. I don't want to take anything away from him, say he was trash at all. Deshaun Jackson had some years where he was really good. Of course, lethal as a punt returner. But had some good years as a receiver as well on multiple different teams. So if Xavier Worthy could just mimic his career, it'd be a good NFL career. But Xavier Worthy, with his explosiveness, with him being able to be a returner and having that flexibility, he also played plenty inside and outside in terms of where he was lining up. He lined up all over the field, so it's not like he's just a slot guy or just an outside guy. He has experience doing different things in that Texas offense. Now, to go along with this conversation, there's a tweet that I saw that I thought was interesting, has some good stuff about Xavier Worthy and what he does as a player. So he said, even if you removed every screen pass for Xavier Worthy, which was 26.8% of his targets, he still would have had 815 receiving yards last year. That's more yardage than Ladd McConkey has put up in any season. That's more yardage than Keon Coleman has put up in any season. Only 30 less yards than his own teammate A.D. Mitchell put up in 2023. So for me, as somebody that doesn't really pay attention to college football like that, I guess people are talking about how, this is somebody who's a screen merchant is what I see in quotes here. And, maybe people are saying he can only do, the gadget plays. He can only be a screen guy and that kind of thing. I assume that's the conversation around it. But just from the little bit that I've seen, I think he's a guy that, especially with Reggie Wayne as his receiver coach, he'd be somebody that could be really good in the NFL. You add him and add his explosiveness to the offense with everything else that's there, I think it'd be lethal. The question is, where do you get Xavier Worthy? Where do you pick Xavier Worthy? Where is he going to get drafted? Is there a chance he makes it to the second round if you try to wait that long? I don't think so. When you look at all the teams that need receivers, right? Every team wants receivers. Well, you're looking at the defending Super Bowl champions who went and got Marquise Brown. They have Rashee Rice. They have Travis Kelce. If they could add one more guy, which presumably by all the chatter around, they could very easily do there at the end of the first round, Xavier Worthy could be pick number 32. So he might not make it to the second round one way or another. So do you pick Xavier Worthy at 15, or do you pick Brian Thomas Jr. at pick 15? Do you pick a corner at pick 15, or go defense, safety, corner, defensive tackle, defensive end, whatever it may be? Do you go anything but receiver at 15 and then pick a second round or third round receiver? That's the real question. And really, as we continue to get closer, we'll see and have better information on where guys are going to be evaluated to go. Of course, any mock draft is never going to be 100%. Somebody I pay a lot of attention to is Daniel Jeremiah. So I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to him. Right now, he has us getting Quinyon Mitchell. So we'll see how things continue to shake out. As things continue to happen, we're going to continue to have more videos, really going to start to try to drop in to all the draft stuff. If there's anything you can think of, anybody you want to look into, you just let me know down in the comment section. We'll try to get to it. I'm going to try to pump out as many videos for you guys as I possibly can. Of course, have a family, have a day job, that whole bit. But going to get you guys as much content as humanly possible. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, have those notifications turned on so you get notified when any videos do come out. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.